Good evening, everybody. I'm here at my house in my backyard. My dog Penny, you might be able to see her in the background if she runs by. Oh, she can hear bottle throw. Look at it. So I hear you having some troubles on a couple problems, and I guess I should have anticipated this a little bit better. So let me show you two examples that will really help you understand this question better. So first of all, I guess to get this part out of the way, for both of these questions, you need to include the geometry symbol of the angle in front of each of the names you give to your angles. I saw some people did include it, so it must not be impossible to find. So make sure that you're using this angle symbol whenever you're talking about an angle. Okay, otherwise KGL is talking about a plane using 3 capital letters. So let's look at this example. So KGL, and let's find as many different names we can give this. So as long as G is in the middle of the letters, then G represents the vertex. So G is the vertex of the angle. And one thing to do, I know it's hard because you guys don't have paper with you or online, is to highlight or think about highlighting or tracing over on your computer what that angle would be. So from K to G to L. So just as it's spelled, trace the angle, and this is the angle that we're talking about. Okay, you can do the same thing with number 2. So this is actually like number 2. So trace the angle, and that'll help you figure out what it's talking about. So what are some other ways we can name this angle? Well, the obvious one would be to write it in reverse. So the first way to do it would be to say angle LGK. LGK. So now when you do the angle, if you write it on paper, you don't need to put this little arc symbol on it. It's just nice because it differentiates that and a less than sign. So it is helpful. Okay, so the other way, there are actually a lot of different ways we could name this one. There are only three ways to name the question on number 2. So number 2, you should only have 3 different answers. Number 3, you'll only have 1 answer. So for number 2, there are 3 ways. For number 3, there's actually only one other way that you can name the angle. So let's think of other ways. Well, what if we did, J is part of this ray, so we could use point J and L instead of K. So let's do angle JGL. So J, G, and L, using those 3 combinations of points. That's still talking about the same angle. And then now we can write it in reverse. So angle L, G, J. Okay, so then think about, so that's 2 and 3. Think about how you could do that, but like on the flip side. So what if we started with M, G, K? Could you do M, G, K? Yes, as long as G is in the middle and M is still on the ray of this side of the angle. So the 4th way would be angle M, G, K, and then we could write it in reverse for a 5th one, angle K, G, M. And then there's one other, well, technically 2 other ways you can name it, using points J for this ray and point M for this ray, for this side of the angle. So let's use those. So angle JGM, and 7th one, angle MGJ. Now, one thing you saw and watched in the video, one of the videos from this 1.4 lesson, is whether or not you can name an angle with only the vertex G. Now, could we name this angle as angle G? Well, the problem was one of ambiguity. So does the vertex G, does that point represent any other angles? Well, yes, it represents this angle, that smaller angle. It represents, I'll do the next one in yellow, this entire angle from GH to GL, that larger angle, and this angle in red, our original one for this particular question. So no, you can't name this angle G because there's ambiguity. Point G is the vertex of 3 different angles. Okay, so there are 7 ways for that one. That's why I didn't choose this one for Edulastic assignment, because there were so many. I chose one that only had 3 different options. So let's look at, I'm going to erase all of this, and let's look at number 2 on this example. So this is like similar, I'm going to choose a different color. This is similar to number 3 on your Edulastic assignment. So KLM. So K, remember the tracing part, go from point K to point L, which is the vertex because it's in the middle, to point M. And then technically it includes the whole ray because an angle is 2 rays that meet at the vertex, and the rays go on to infinity technically. So that's the angle that we're talking about. I'll make an arc for it. And so what are the other names to name it? Well, the obvious one is to write it in reverse. So angle MLK. MLK. Now, the other way we could do it is to use a G instead of M. So we could say K, instead of KLM, we could say KLG. So I'm going to start writing over here so we don't get rid of the picture. Angle KLG, and angle, writing it in reverse, GLK. So that's 3 ways. Could you name it with just angle L? Does vertex L, point L, does it share any other angles that are in the diagram? No. So yes, there is no, I keep saying yes and no. There's no ambiguity, so we can name it with just angle L. Point L represents just one vertex of an angle in this diagram. All right. But for the question on your problem, I think there was just, well, I'll have to look at it again. Let's take a look. I can't remember exactly what the problem was. No, that's not it. Let's just double check here real quick. Oh gosh. Where did my screen go? We're going to preview the assignment so we don't see answers. There goes the dog. So HGM. And then this one is KJM. So KJM. Yes, in fact, there's only one other way you could name that angle. Okay, just making sure that I'm thinking about the right problem. All right, so that should be enough hints for you. If you have any other questions, you can ask me tomorrow at the beginning of class. So I hope this helped.